He was shouting at me, I was shouting back at him, and he snapped. And he pushed me to the floor.
He knocked you over?
He knocked me over. I landed on the dog bowl.
You cut your back?
Yeah, I cut my back. I didn't know about it at the time. But yeah, he apologized afterwards. It was...
What if one of the most explosive royal moments of the decade wasn't exactly what it seemed? When Prince Harry first revealed that his brother Prince William allegedly grabbed him and knocked him to the floor during a heated confrontation, the world froze. It wasn't just gossip. It was physical. It was raw. It shattered the carefully polished image of royal composure. But now, insiders are quietly pushing back, calling the story massively overblown and even a cheap shot. And suddenly, the question isn't just what happened that night, it's who benefits from how the story is told. Because in this royal feud, perception may matter more than truth. According to Harry's account in Spare, the confrontation took place inside Nottingham Cottage in 2019. William allegedly arrived furious, confronting his younger brother over Meghan's reported behavior toward palace staff. Harry described escalating tension, insults exchanged, and then a moment that crossed the line. A physical scuffle that left him on the floor with a broken necklace and visible scrapes. He framed it as a heartbreaking turning point, proof that the bond they once shared had fractured beyond repair. The public reaction was immediate and intense. For some, it confirmed suspicions that tensions behind palace walls were worse than anyone imagined. For others, it felt calculated. Deeply personal details released to sell books and headlines. Either way, the damage was done. But that wasn't the end of it. Now comes the twist. Sources close to the situation are claiming the altercation has been exaggerated. That what Harry portrayed as an assault was, in reality, a heated but brief confrontation blown out of proportion. The phrase, massively overblown, changes everything. It reframes the incident from shocking violence to emotional exaggeration. And calling it a cheap shot suggests something even bigger, that the story wasn't just about honesty, but strategy. Fans began questioning the timing of this pushback. Why challenge the story now? Why not earlier? Some believe this is image protection as William prepares for greater responsibility within the monarchy. Others see it as long overdue correction. Either way, the palace may not speak directly, but narratives are clearly being shaped behind the scenes. And that's when the public divide became impossible to ignore. The internet wasted no time reacting. Many viewers pointed out that Harry has repeatedly told deeply personal stories about his family, from interviews to documentaries, and some are simply exhausted. Skeptics argue that every new revelation seems to escalate the drama. They question whether private family arguments should be broadcast worldwide. Others go further, bluntly suggesting that if Harry is speaking, he must be spinning the truth. There's growing fatigue among certain royal watchers who believe the feud has become monetized conflict. Book deals, streaming, platforms, primetime interviews. For this group, the overblown claim feels plausible, even expected. But that perspective isn't universal, because on the other side, the reaction looks very different. For many, William's refusal to publicly deny the physical confrontation says more than any official statement could. Some observers argue that if the claim were completely false, a stronger rebuttal would have emerged immediately. Instead, there's been restraint. And restraint can be interpreted in two ways: dignity or damage control. Critics of the palace suggest that power protects itself, and that future kings are rarely challenged in public. They see the new insider narrative as reputation shielding rather than truth correction. Others argue William's silence reflects discipline, a deliberate refusal to fuel the fire. After all, engaging publicly could legitimize the conflict further. But beneath all the arguments lies a deeper layer that keeps resurfacing, and her name continues to sit at the center of it. The argument reportedly began over concerns about Meghan's interactions with palace staff, allegations that have lingered for years. While official investigations were conducted, full findings were never publicly detailed, fueling speculation on both sides. Supporters of Meghan argue she was unfairly targeted by the institution. Critics claim the staff complaints were serious and justified William's concern. That context makes the alleged confrontation less about brotherly rivalry and more about loyalty and protection. Harry has consistently defended Meghan, framing many conflicts as rooted in hostility toward her. William, meanwhile, is believed to have been focused on maintaining stability within the royal household. Fans began questioning whether the physical altercation, exaggerated or not, was really about deeper ideological differences: tradition versus disruption, duty versus independence. And when you look at it that way, the fight becomes symbolic. Timing in royal drama is never random. The push to label the altercation overblown didn't emerge in a vacuum. It comes at a moment when Prince William's public profile is steadily rising, with more solo appearances, global statesman optics, and increased positioning as the inevitable future king. Image management becomes critical at this stage. Any lingering perception of volatility, especially physical aggression, could quietly undermine that carefully constructed leadership persona. At the same time, Prince Harry continues to make appearances, participate in interviews, and build projects outside the royal system, keeping his version of events alive in public consciousness. Many viewers pointed out that narratives tend to resurface when reputations are at stake. Some believe this is strategic recalibration, smoothing rough edges before the crown gets closer. Others argue it's simply a delayed correction to an emotional account that ran too hot. Either way, the timing feels deliberate. And that makes the story bigger than one argument in a cottage. There's another layer here that rarely gets discussed. Memory isn't a courtroom transcript. Two people can experience the same moment and walk away with entirely different emotional truths. Harry described feeling attacked, cornered, physically and emotionally overwhelmed. If that's how he experienced it, then in his mind, the moment was seismic. But critics argue emotional intensity doesn't automatically equal factual severity. Fans began questioning whether the scene was amplified for narrative impact inside a memoir designed to sell millions. After all, a heated argument sounds ordinary. A physical altercation sounds explosive. And explosive stories travel faster. That doesn't automatically mean fabrication, but it does raise questions about framing. Was it a shove during a scuffle? Or a dramatic takedown? The difference is massive in public perception. And perception in the modern monarchy can be everything. Then there's the role of media itself. Late-night reenactments, viral clips, and social commentary turned the alleged fight into entertainment. Once a story becomes a punchline, it transforms from private pain into public spectacle. Some viewers felt the mockery trivialized what could have been a deeply emotional moment. Others argued that once Harry chose to publish it, it became fair game. But the real engine here is repetition. Headlines amplify conflict. Social media accelerates outrage. Every new exclusive breathes fresh life into a feud that might otherwise fade. And that cycle benefits everyone involved. Publishers, networks, commentators, even critics keep the story alive by reacting to it. In that sense, whether the altercation was intense or exaggerated almost becomes secondary. The real fuel is division. And division is profitable. This wasn't a random explosion. Tension between the brothers reportedly dates back years. Disagreements over pace, priorities, and partners. When Meghan entered the picture, the dynamic shifted quickly. Harry moved fast. William allegedly urged caution. That early friction planted seeds of distrust. Add global media pressure, staff turmoil, and generational differences about how the monarchy should evolve, and the stage was set for rupture. Many viewers pointed out that sibling rivalries can intensify when power structures are involved. William carries the weight of inheritance. Harry carved a path outside the institution. One stayed within the system. The other stepped away and began speaking freely. That divergence turned personal frustration into philosophical conflict. So when tempers flared, it may have represented years of unresolved tension finally boiling over. But what makes it even more complicated is that neither side appears willing to fully back down. Notice what hasn't happened. There's been no joint clarification, no shared statement minimizing the incident, no visible reconciliation. Instead, silence dominates. And silence can be strategic. For William, engaging publicly might validate the confrontation and prolong the feud. For Harry, retracting or softening the account could damage credibility with supporters who see him as finally telling his truth. So both men hold their ground. That stalemate creates a vacuum, and vacuums get filled with speculation. Some fans insist that if the story were truly exaggerated, a firm denial would have surfaced immediately. Others counter that royal tradition favors restraint over rebuttal. The monarchy has survived by absorbing controversy quietly, but this generation operates differently. In the streaming era, silence doesn't erase narratives. It intensifies curiosity, and curiosity keeps the feud alive. Zoom out, and the stakes become clearer. This isn't just about who pushed whom, it's about legacy. William represents continuity, stability, future face of the crown. Harry represents disruption, transparency, a break from tradition. Each narrative reinforces those roles. If Harry's version stands unchallenged, it paints William as volatile behind closed doors. If the overblown framing sticks, it casts Harry as dramatic or opportunistic. Both images carry long-term consequences. Public trust in the monarchy relies heavily on perception of character, and once doubt enters that equation, it lingers. Many viewers pointed out that younger audiences tend to side with openness and vulnerability, while traditionalists prioritize discretion and duty. That generational split adds another layer to the divide. This isn't just a family disagreement, it's a symbolic battle over what the monarchy should look like moving forward. In the end, the truth may never be neatly packaged. Was it a shocking assault? A brief scuffle amplified by emotion? A strategic narrative move? Or a carefully timed image correction? The reality likely sits somewhere in the gray space between. But what's undeniable is the impact. One confrontation, whether intense or exaggerated, permanently altered how the world sees two brothers once viewed as inseparable. The bond forged through shared tragedy now exists under a cloud of public doubt. And perhaps that's the most significant consequence of all, because in today's world, whoever controls the story controls the legacy. And until the full truth emerges, if it ever does, the question will continue to echo. Was this a moment of raw honesty, or a calculated turning point in a battle for the future of the crown?